So, going to be working on repairing a problem here with my my baler. I was in the process of baling hay. You can see I got some real nice windrows, lots of good hay out in the pasture. I'd gotten about 40 bales done, and the baler felt like it went over a bump, and when I stopped to check on it, this part of the baling extension had been dislodged and pulled in the wrong direction. So I had to stop baling, and I just went ahead and picked up the hay that I had in the field, the 40 bales, to get it under the barn in case it started raining. And I've ordered the part to replace, but what that part is, it's sort of the other side to this piece, and what that does, it compresses the bale and keeps the bale either tighter or looser depending on how heavy a bale you want. So if you want a very heavy bale, then you want this and the piece that's dislodged underneath to be very close to one another, pinching down, so that the bale ends up being heavier. If you want a very looser bale, then you want to loosen up these tensioning screws here that attach to a spring on either side, and then attached to this piece here that's attached to the extension that's in the wrong position. So you tighten this up for a heavier bale, and you loosen it for a lighter bale. So today I'm going to be working on getting the hay out that's in there, and preparing the baler for the new part, the new extension, when I get it. This is a nice little program on the John Deere website that allows you to go through and look at the schematics of your different John Deere equipment. It shows in this picture here the extension piece that ended up breaking, and it also gives you the bolts that hold it in place, so that you can order those if necessary. It's real nice because then it comes over and it tells you, for instance, number 17 is the extension, so it gives you the part number there, if you see that, and then it tells you extension, and then some kind of remarks. It also goes back and tells you part number and for the bolt that is necessary, and it also gives you the size of the bolt, which is good because it's a metric bolt, and so that makes it easier to find what you need. So it's been a very helpful program, and you can get this. It's a parts advisor at the John Deere website. So it's not real effective in pulling enough hay out to be able to remove the part that I need to remove. So I'm going to be using the Sawzall here to try to cut free the old part and make room for the new piece. So here you can see the old part and the new part. The end of this old part was bolted to the baler, and you can see it's rusted out. This is the end that I had to cut loose with the Sawzall. The end here is so rusted that when I started cutting it, it more or less just fell apart. This is a tremendous amount of rust from not taking care of the baler like it should have been over the years. Once I got the extension out of the way, I was able to get all the hay that had built up in the baler out. Just removed it so that I could have a space to work. Also removed the door, the end of the baler. This is the upper extension that we talked about earlier. The lower extension bolts on to the frame here. The previous extension was so rusted that it just broke free from that bolt. Here you can see the opening on the end of the extension where the bolt should go. I ended up having to use the Sawzall and a hacksaw to cut the nut and bolt out of the frame. They were so rusted together that I couldn't get them out any other way. This washer was in between the nut and frame. You see this square piece was actually part of the original extension that the shoulders of this bolt were supposed to fit into. Here you can see that the nut and bolt have been removed, and this should have been a sort of a square opening, but it's been rounded, and that didn't help in removing the nut and bolt earlier. This we'll end up having to get a new nut and bolt to replace here, and it'll fit down into the end of this extension piece, and we'll have shoulders that will fit to keep it from spinning when I try to take it in or out. So here we have the finished product. This is the bolt keeping the lower extension from wobbling side to side, and the two ends, the cross piece that attach the tension springs. Again, we've got a good washer and a good tension on the frame here to keep the extension from wobbling around while we're baling hay. When I start baling the next time, I'll tighten up these springs to adjust for the amount of hay that I want per bale. Right now I'm going to leave them loose until I start baling again so I can get the right tension on the bale.